And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Right here on BearcatJournal.com. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Of course, I get the hiccups the minute Aaron hits record. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website, get the app. The app will get you delivery right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. All right. It was a big day for the Bearcats, as it was National Signing Day. No real surprises, no real shockers today, but a lot of great content. All three interviews that we did, the Scott Satterfield press conference, and then Keegan and I with exclusive chats with offensive coordinator Brad Glenn, defensive coordinator Brian Brown. Those are all up right here on this YouTube channel. You can find them at Bearcat Journal. Keegan is also working on a written recap of the day's festivities, and we're going to do a video recap of the day's festivities, because whatever format you want it in, we're going to have it. That's what we do. We got this shit on lockdown. So let's do this. Aaron's
I want to know how the day went. This is the first time they've done anything to this level for signing day.
No, there's been events in the past. So they did. Are you talking about just the overall day or the thing tonight? No, there's always a signing day presser.
The whole day in itself, like where you had the event tonight and just everything that happened.
So it was tonight. They've done signing day like dinners or events kind of like this before, but they've been more exclusive. They've been more for, the big donors. This was open to the general public, so it was a little bit different. And they did it at Fifth Third Arena, which was a little bit bigger scale. They had the Champions Club open and had some chicken fingers and some hors d'oeuvres and some cheese and bacon potato barrels, like big tater tots with cheese and bacon in them.
Nice.
Those were pretty delicious. Some buffalo chicken dip, some desserts, some cookies and things of the sort to open the event. And then as the event got going, it was hosted by Tony Pike. He'll probably get mad at me for saying this, but Dan Horde is out with his voice hasn't been working since Saturday when he did the Bengals game and then tried to do the basketball game. Dan usually hosts events like this, but with him unavailable, Tony was hosting, and I guess he had a couple people come up to him and say, "What were you, the third, fourth choice for them to do this event?"
Unreal.
He's like, yeah, and guess what? If we had NIL in 2009, you'd have been writing me fat checks. I thought it was funny. But yeah, it was not too far off from what we've done in the past. We've had I guess this is outside of COVID when we weren't allowed on campus. It's like the 6th year in a row we've gotten the offensive and defensive coordinators to specifically break down each player that's on their side of the ball in the class. And I thought Sat was really good today. And then the event tonight, was really good with Tony hosting and bringing up, a rotation of people to talk to about everything. So the other big thing that's different now is like now we get to, they added 8 guys in the portal so far, and we got to ask about all those guys as well as the high school guys. So you get a little bit more of the complete picture. But overall, it was good stuff. I enjoyed it.
Good. As for the pressers and all that was pretty much same thing as what happens on a normal year, as long as there's not COVID.
Yeah, I mean, you'll always have the coach kind of sitting up there and going over everything, and it's a little more general. I don't think they want me sitting up there just going down the list of tell me about this guy, tell me about this guy.
Right.
So I tried to work in some different questions for him that I felt were important, given the landscape and how things are changing rapidly in the recruiting world and the player acquisition period that we are in right now. But yeah, I mean, pretty standard. And I thought everybody handled it pretty well. And I thought if you're looking for information about what they've done in high school recruiting and what they've done in the transfer portal, those 3 videos and the content you're getting here is going to get you as up to speed as you can possibly get.
Plus Zach Grant tomorrow.
Zach Grant tomorrow. And he actually came up. Here's good news. He said, I was told that you guys need me for a half hour, but I'm good for whatever, however long. So I'm guessing tomorrow it's just going to be the Zach Grant episode. I don't know how much we're going to do other than Zach Grant. I'm guessing we're going to keep him a while and kind of let everybody get a much better feel for what a recruiting department looks like and why it's so different now as compared to what it used to be. So I'm excited for that one. I think it's going to be one of our more educational and knowledgeable episodes of the BCJ pod. And we've had a bunch of those, even though it's me and Dave that host the thing. We've had a bunch of those in the past, despite the 2 hosts. But I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited for tomorrow.
Well, I don't want to go down the list of every guy for either Brad Glenn or Brian Brown. What I will say is you've got roughly about 40 minutes between the 2 of them where you get a breakdown, whether it be short or whether it be lengthy, depending on whatever player. You can tell which ones they really like to gush about. But you get a response for literally every player added from both the transfer portal and the incoming recruiting class. The class stands at 21. All signed today, correct?
Yeah. Everybody signed. Everybody's in the boat. The transfers have all signed scholarship papers. The recruits have all signed national letters of intent. So
and
all
10
systems go.
10 of the incoming recruits will be here early enrollees. So roughly about half your class of the 21. So we'll kind of jump right into Satterfield. He led off essentially saying that these are great men, and right off the bat, we get our first character. If I was playing a drinking game for watching the roughly hour of content that I watched this evening, even though I watch at 2 times speed, I'd be, and maybe especially because I watch at 2 times speed.
Yeah, especially because you watch it 2 times speed.
If I took a shot of beer, even every time they said the word character or great family or great guy or something along those lines, or intangibles. I think that might be another one. I think it would be like Power Hour. If you ever played Power Hour back in college,
Yeah.
where you take a shot of beer and you had usually a CD synced up to where it was only 1 minute per song, and you'd have that Power Hour song burned onto a CD. Totally dating myself right now. Even the mention of the word CD, but
I grew up on tapes, so
the theme of the day though is character, and I think that's I point that out just to hammer home what we're already seeing this staff do in what they're calling their first full recruiting class, their first full transfer class, even as they've now had a full year to really look at what this team has, what this team does not have, what they want it to have, where they want it to go. And I think that the fact that they hammered home how much character meant to them in this transfer portal, in this recruiting class, is telling of where the team was last season and where they want this team to go.
Yeah, I'm not going to put too much on where the team was last season. Obviously, there were some issues. And in a sport like football, if there's some issues, it can kind of impact a lot of different areas. But overall, I think it's just more a message of that's what they want their program to be about. That They don't want to sacrifice one for the other, where you're gonna take kids that don't fit your profile just because they have some talent. And I think that was especially early when you're trying to set the tone for your locker room. I think that's important that you've established a core of leaders at the top of your program now, right?
Yeah.
And what you want are freshmen that are going to come in and be impacted by that core, because then the waterfall effect starts. It trickles down.
I guess it takes me back to one of the things that Dante Corleone said in his last presser that he was at a couple weeks ago now, where he said that he wanted guys coming in that would hold other people accountable, essentially being able to bring in the next wave of leaders, right? And it sounds
that's
to
in
me,
the transfer portal, yeah. Like
well,
the freshmen, you got to get guys with good character that will follow.
Sure, and I think
the
that's
lead
all
from the top.
I think it's all part of the same thing. As long as
You're
everybody's
building the
rowing,
pyramid.
yeah, you're rowing. We're all rowing the same direction. All of those things. But I think it's good to see. You also have a couple of different state champions in the mix, both on offense and defense, coming in from in this freshman class.
Look, I think I know it sounds cliche, but I want as many kids as possible from top 3 programs in the state that you recruit them from.
Well, it's like what Luke used to say, right? Where he wanted to build a top 10 program. You're getting guys from these, top 10 programs in the state, and they're known for being top 10 programs and winning in how they build the kids in the weight room, on the field, off the field, grades, all of those things that you want in a student athlete.
Yeah, I want kids coming in that have already lived the expectation of being in a championship program. Like dealing with that weight when you have your first practice. The expectation is compete for state championship, win state championship, And I think that just, being around high school football for as long as I have. I mean, I started calling high school football games in 2001. And being around that and seeing St. X and Moeller and Coleraine and looking at Highlands and Covcath and Beechwood in Northern Kentucky, like there's just a standard when you're a part of those programs that resonates winning. That's why they win all the time, is because there's no fluctuation in that. There's very little up and down. So I asked everybody about that specifically because I personally think go get as many of those kids as you can. Their coaching is better. Their weight, strength, conditioning program is better. The support system around the programs are better. And those are the type of guys that you want permeating that locker room because they expect to win. They don't want to win. They expect to win. And I think that's critical.
He also said that the days of freshmen coming in as red shirts are gone. Don't expect necessarily. I'm not saying that you won't have red shirts, but just that absolutely. But that's not. Don't make the assumption that everyone coming in as a freshman is going to be a red shirt. Is essentially what he was getting at. Everyone's going to have a chance to compete right away, including Samaj Jones. He did not rule that out. That said, I'll be shocked if it's not Brendan Sorsby.
Yeah.
But in any case, I don't know. I think that there's certainly some guys coming in, especially when you look at some of the rooms that were a little thin going into even the transfer portal, where defensive back, linebacker, those edge spots,
quarterback, running back, wide receiver,
tight end. Yeah, I mean, those are going to be the spots where you might see a freshman emerge for some playing time. And I think that, as we've talked about, where you were able to start grooming some of those kids into being, the guys that are ready to step in next season rather than deer in the headlights next year. I think it'll be interesting.
I think a lot of it is what I anticipate, Aaron, is I expect to see a lot of these guys on special teams.
Sure.
And hopefully if it goes well, you'll see some guys sprinkled into the 2 deep that are in this freshman class, because
I
just think you need to get as many of them ready as possible for the next wave. Like it's weird to say this, Aaron, but for the most part, this year is going to be about it for the Fickle era. Like, down to the brass tacks, those guys are all because of transfers and attrition and whatever. There's not a lot of young guys,
not really,
that are on this roster that are holdovers from that staff. So once the Corleones and the Mason Fletchers and the Gavin Gerhardts move on,
you'll have a handful, maybe a handful.
Yeah. So, there's going to be an opportunity for these young guys to come in and immediately become significant pieces of the foundation of what we'll be watching over the next 4 or 5 years. So, play them. Get them ready. Get them up to speed. Find a way to get them on the field and get them as much real-life experience as you can get them for the guys that are ready. And I do think there's at least a handful of guys I expect to see, making a name for themselves. And Sat's right. Like if you want to hand pick Samaj Jones, quarterback, Jake Wheelock, offensive lineman, those guys are going to take some time. But Gavin Grover, Devin Zahersky, Dakari Anderson, Cale Woodburn, Simeon Coleman, Willie Goodman, Gravy Johnson, Jaquan Sanks, those guys are all going to be here for spring ball. So they're going to have a chance.
They'll have a leg up. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I want that spot. I want a spot as we get to higher ground.
Last notes that I have, they both have to do with the transfer portal. We had a pretty good inkling, but Satterfield did confirm that the multiple years for the transfer portal was a huge component in who they went after. And I absolutely love that move, especially when you're getting guys who aren't necessarily going to even be eligible for it. And who knows what the rules. I don't expect it to even be something that we have to worry about next season, because I think that the second year or second transfer rule is going to be long gone at that point in time. But as things currently stand, you potentially have guys here for 3 seasons. A lot of them.
Some of them two, some of them three.
But
3. Everybody multiple, except for the long snapper. The 7 position players that they have added so far via the portal all have multiple years. And it's important that you don't have to, once you get into that 1-year cycle, once you get into we're taking grad transfers, you
don't want to reset every single year. Yeah,
you can't get out. You're stuck in it.
Yep.
So there you go.
And the last note I had was just how the leaders, like a Corleone, like a Mason Fletcher, the guys that they've, I'm assuming Luke Kandra, some of those guys, they were involved at dinner with the incoming transfer portal guys, and they did indeed have to actually sign off on anyone who they extended that offer to. And I thought that was fascinating.
I'm so disappointed in Dante Corleone.
In what way?
He was at almost all of the dinners. Almost all of them involved Jeff Ruby's. And every time he ordered a well-done steak and topped it with ranch dressing.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah. And he also got one to go the same way every time. And then,
unbelievable.
And then when I joked around with him about it tonight at the thing, you know what he had the nerve to say? Try it. You'll probably like it. No.
Not from Ruby.
I'm supposed to say that to you. I'm supposed to say that to you about eating a steak the real way.
Yeah, that's not how I would ever eat. That's how you eat flank steak, not Ruby steak.
Jeff Ruby's, well done, with ranch dressing. He called it a pitcher. I said ranch dressing. He said, yeah. I asked the waitress for like a pitcher of ranch dressing, and I poured it on top of the steak.
Plug whatever you need to plug. I can't. There's nothing. I can't top that.
That's going to wrap it up. I'm sorry to do that to you, Dante, but you gotta learn that that's not how you eat a Jeff Ruby steak.
Nah.
That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Thanks to everybody for tuning in all day. We appreciate it. Right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.